Buddy, it's Sister Nancy. I just wanted to talk to you about our poisonous thoughts. So, our journeys they get really hard sometimes, and we're all broken souls at one time who needed love. And I think that we can all testify that when we stepped into this place, that we were showered with the love that we needed to breathe life back into us. That feeling of connection, that feeling of warmth, and that feeling that someone really cares for us. Well, when we have felt abandoned for so many years of our lives because, that's what life has done to us and has made us feel so alone, the feeling that someone cares for us can be really overwhelming. And coming here gives a sense of belonging, but most of all, it gives us hope. The journey here, though, it's not always easy. And the love that we feel when we walk into the door is overwhelming and amazing, but it's sometimes really misunderstood. And the reason I say that is because the love that we feel here is because of the love that the others have found in the Lord. And the Lord's light, it radiates through them. And part of our loving is loving each other. And one of the greatest commandments is to love others as that we would love ourselves. But the thing is that there comes a time when the feeling of the Lord's presence, it leaves us. And then we're feeling alone and abandoned yet once again. And the problem is not because the people here that they don't care, that they love each other. It's because that our relationship with the Lord is not strong enough. And when I walked into the door here nearly 15 years ago, I was going through a difficult time in my relationship. And it was because of the people here that I kept coming back. I was in awe. I was overwhelmed by how much love that was in this place. And I wanted it. But the problem with that is that just as I did when I was in the world, I was still seeking love from other people. And what happens then is that when that feeling, it doesn't remain constant, those old thoughts, they start to take over in your mind and they start spiraling out of control. Our thoughts, they can be like poison. So if you think about a poisonous snake or a poisonous spider, initially that bite, it stings, it hurts. But quickly that poison, it just starts to spread throughout our body, and then pretty soon you become sick and sometimes even paralyzed. So our thoughts work the same way. They might start with something like, well, I wonder why so-and-so didn't call me today. And pretty soon that thought has completely spiraled out of control to where you're at a point where you're just convinced that nobody in this place even cares about you. And then you're left feeling not emotionally sick, but physically exhausted. And our hearts, they feel shattered. And then everything around us looks evil. Our minds are not on the Lord. When we're thinking evil thoughts or we're thinking bad things about other people. And when our minds are thinking bad things about others, we behave that way. And our thoughts about others, they say a lot about what is in our heart and what is in our soul. We can say that we love someone, and we may mean it in just our heart of hearts. We really can truly believe that we really do love someone. But the problem with that is that we're having ill thoughts about others, our hearts and our minds and our souls. They're on ourselves and our own needs. So it's hard when we come from a place of emptiness and brokenness and feel that no one cares. And when we've spent our entire lives looking at other things or other people, to fulfill our emptiness, we always get disappointed. We always get hurt. We have this expectation sometimes that never ever gets met. So when we enter this place, and maybe someone doesn't call or they seem too busy for you, you begin thinking that it's our church. Instead of looking at what the real problem is, and that is that you're relying on the love in the church for your happiness, instead of the love that the Lord provides. I get it. It's hard. It's really hard when you're going through a difficult time. And when someone's standing in front of you telling you that it's going to be okay. It is hard when you want the touch of a person, like a hug or just somebody to wipe your tears away. And it's the touch of a person, that you can see that it's different. When people love each other, that's what they're supposed to do because that's what the Lord wants for us. But in our own relationships with God, if we don't find Him and rely on Him for all of our needs, when we don't establish a relationship with Him in such a way that we actually do find comfort, even when we don't feel His presence, we're going to continue seeking fulfillment elsewhere. That's not to say that other churches are bad or that what other pastors teach is incorrect, because that's just not true. This is about people leaving because they have this big empty hole inside that is just much easier filled with the love of others that we can see that it is in being filled with something that we can't touch. But be encouraged. If you keep persevering through it all, including the hard times when you feel that no one is there, you will find strength. The Lord will strengthen our hearts. And when our faith is stronger, it is so much more peaceful. Our hearts are not always at war with our minds. And we can enjoy our lives instead of feeling that we're suffering day in and day out. And when we don't feel that we're suffering every day, our souls and our hearts, they're healthy. And then we don't react to the world based on our minds and our thoughts. We react to the world according to our healthy hearts and our pure hearts and our pure thoughts. And in doing this, we can keep the Lord's commandments. So if you hear someone say, well, I don't think that there's love in the church, or if you hear someone question whether or not you care, or you think that this is just too hard, love them anyways. Love them more. Because they're broken just like you were at one time. And remember what it was like for you. Remember what brought you here and how your own faith wavered. Remember what it was that helped you and do the same for them, while at the same time letting God give them the answers. I thank you for your time. Pray for my strength in the Lord.